I'm loving it. So, good evening for another episode of Recortalk. And today I want to adjust a little bit to the general labeling of the day around the world. And I thought, let's do a little video about musical fathership. And I want to show you, I grabbed a few records from my shelf, and I want to show you some of those records that had a deep impact on my musical identity, like put an imprint on my whole musical conception, more or less, like something that has kind of a musical fathership, if you want to say it easy and short. So I gotta say to you one thing at first, and this is, as always, I go with the flow. Let's see what I come up with, and just tell you a little bit about those records. And outside it was a little bit rainy today, so Austria did not have a beautiful weather for the Father's Day, but that's okay. So let's start it off with whatever. I just grabbed something. Nelly Furtado, 2006. Say It Right was the song that introduced me to that album. And why I put it into the collection of today is, I have also a biological father, and I also have another one, that the man who married my mother, and I want to thank him for all positive things he did in my life that made me go the person who I am. And this record, it was back then in 2006, it was like this. I had listened to, I knew the songs, the singles from that, from MTV and from Go TV in Austria, and Viva back then also, like from the TV stations, musical TV stations, and I loved it. And I loved especially Say It Right, the beat and the thing, the sound of the songs she did on that record, especially the song Promiscuous, Man Eater, and Say It Right, which was the reason why I wanted this record. And there was a newspaper ad that they had it in special offer, and my father, like, he and my mother, they went shopping went to the shopping mall, and I asked him, please, here, take this with you, take this, gave him the paper from the ad, and please, this CD, I want it, please can you grab it for me? And to my surprise, he brought it, like he really bought it, and so this is the exact thing I have here that he bought back then for me. And I want to say thank you now also for this. Thank you for buying this, because this album had a big impact in some way on my conception of music, because I listened to it over and over again. And that was right before I went into more guitar, and this was before, it was just when I started guitar playing also, like this time, and it was the only popular music record from the charts for years that even reached me in some way that I had it then also in my hands. You know what I mean? So a nice song, and also a nice album at all. I don't know why she disappeared. I hope she's coming back sometime, and let's see. I like also her predecessor from this, where Forza is on it, the EM song of 2004. And how was the other car? Like, yeah, Forza. So next one. Musical Fathership 2. Pink Floyd. Another brick in the wall. So this was my introduction to Pink Floyd, and Pink Floyd had then influenced my life for like 2 years, at least 1.5 years. Just this band, and yeah, in the life of every guitarist, sooner or later he will have to face David Gilmour and what he did and the band. For me, it was like my introduction to them was the YouTube video and concert of Kool's of this late early 90s, like it's a late incarnation of Pink Floyd without Roger Waters, and I was really amazed, and it had a big impact on my whole life back then and musical identity for now. Like, and just to note to Pink Floyd, to the band itself, because it's a big thing to talk about, and I just want to break it down to 2 things. I don't want to live without a Tom Hart Mother, and I don't want to live without Dark Side of the Moon, but I love all of the records, and also the momentary lapse of reason from the 80s. This had a big, it was kind of the soundtrack for my social service year, so yeah. Pink Floyd, one of my turns, the B-side, is also something to listen to. I like the whole wall, but this one is a nice B-side, really a nice one. Next one, like we're talking fathers today. Let's I show you now a brother, or whatever, a brother to Pink Floyd. In my, I always had this conception of Pink Floyd is the one thing, and the other thing is kind of has a brotherhood status or sisterhood or whatever you want to see it. Genesis. And now I have to say, if I look at the whole, I would say Genesis and especially Phil Collins had even a bigger impact to me than Pink Floyd had. So, Behind the Lines and Turn It On Again. One of my favorite Genesis songs, by the way. Turn It On Again. So, Genesis, I especially like the later stuff with Phil Collins singing, and the Duke album, the Genesis self-titled one, also the I Can Dance single, which is really fun to listen to in my opinion, and the video also. I like the acting of Phil, and also the solo stuff of Phil Collins of the first final farewell tour, which really was taking me into another level in some way. It showed me many things that I will love forever, and it was just an amazing band what they had, and always like they still have a really, really amazing band. And hello Leland Sklar, thank you for what you did all over your life, and for this Another Day in Paradise bass, and all the other, like Studio, man. It was so fun watching your video in March or whatever you did it, and keep on, let them block it. You know what I've written in your comment, maybe you read it. So, Genesis is a band that is kind of has a broader status to the, you know, the other big prog rock band, like next to Pink Floyd. But you can't really compare. So next one would be, let's see, Oh, we had that already. Yeah, McDonald's, you help me. Saxophone. So I don't want to make every video I do a Prince video, but this guy is everywhere, you know. Even here, he's not on there, but the connection, you know. What I want to tell you about that video, it's kind of from when I was born, I guess. It was to 1990, not written. I think it was done 1990. So also from the time when I was just right 10th anniversary. So this was 2000. Yeah, it was my birth year album, and I love my guitar teacher Andy that gave me many important life lessons for music and also kind of for life and all the other stuffs around it. You know, you don't have just musical experience in your guitar lessons. So great guy, thank you for everything. I should have listened to you more maybe back then, but you know, I'm someone that just wants to do his own thing, but I did, and you showed me how to do it. Thank you. So there is the song People Get Ready, and this is kind of such an amazing groove, and yeah, it's a Bill Stewart is also on there. Like, I like Bill Stewart from I saw him live with John Scofield and Bootsy Collins, Rodney Jones, Don Parlin. I don't know him now. Pee Wee Ellis. It's a really laid back, groovy People Get Ready thing, and I love the guitar. Maybe I put it in the description because this is something you have to listen to. Next one, let's stay at the jazz. That's not jazz. Matthew Parker is funk, groove, whatever, laid back soul. And he played with the new power generation with Prince, so Prince is everywhere. Like, it's a big one. Peter O'Mara, 5 Forces. And this guy did a book. He did a book for guitar, jazz guitar, the rhythmic concept of jazz guitar, and there is also a really beautiful trio arranged today. Like, it's a trio he had, guitar, bass and drums, and it was accompanying the book, and I listened to it over and over and over and over. Like, it was really, this guy made my ear also in a big way open. He opened my ears for jazz guitar and jazz, because he redid all, he took the most important standards and just made his own interpretations of those songs, and he did it in a nice groovy way. So thank you, Peter Mehra. And if we look at the song listing here, so what I want to say something. Yeah, something you have to let go. Things like beginnings. Like, I think, you know, for the Father's Day, like, time changes, the beginnings, the father, like letting go, and then you come home again, because it's all development of the mind, and the beginning for the mind is kind of different than the beginning for the physical aspect of life. It's about the mind. And these are my fathers. And he has even the stripes on his, I think it's one of his first records. Hello, father. No, just joking. But, you know, 5 Forces is kind of an 80s jazz thing, fusion kind of thing, and it's fun to listen to. So, next one. Feel like in a TV game show. Okay. Big influence. Shaped my whole youth. Babyshambles. I'm gonna do a own video on the whole Babyshambles material and Libertines. But I want to say thank you, Pete Doherty, for giving me such beautiful and nice times when I was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Your music rocked and rocks and rocked me. This here is an early, really early incarnation. This is was the first when he came out of jail. He was in jail for robbing his bandmate from the Libertines, but whatever went on back then. Like, then he formed this group, and this was the first release, parallel to Libertines back then already. And with Patrick Walden, that I really have a big admiration for his playing. And there is also now a little connection to my release from yesterday, Movie Star, which I did a cover for. You can see the cover in the YouTube video, which also has the same color shape as Down in Albion, the first album of the Babyshambles. And on the Babyshambles is also this little thing down there, like the French dog. It's a kind of a thing from Pete. There's even on the record later, like Shotter's Nation, there's French Dog Blues on it, the song, and it was kind of a little gimmick that Pete Doherty played with. He's a big artist, big admiration, shaped my life, father figure. Thank you for everything. And I have a second one here that I want to show. Babyshambles. This is the first single from the first album, and it's still with Gemma Clark. That Gemma Clark was the drummer who played on here. So this is also another incarnation, like already before. Maybe this was also recorded before the first album was done. Because on the first album there's another version of Kilimanjaro with Adam Fisek on the drums that I also love. So this has also more the Libertine vibe still going on from the sound. And yeah, I miss Patrick Walden a lot, really. So The Man Who Came to Stay, also a record that I would recommend everybody, a B-side that I recommend everybody who is interested in British pop, punk area stuff from 2000 should listen to it. So Babyshambles, big time in my heart. Next one. So this one, this is a whole box of 15 CDs. And I don't want to miss any second of this. This thing shaped my jazz identity really, if not the most. Because for years, like 2015, 16, I always slept with this. I woke up in the morning listening this, I went to bed listening this. 15 CDs. Nice booklet, and I gotta say the Riverside stuff of Monk is my favorite stuff. It starts off with it's starting with the Duke Ellington record, like where he plays dun 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 dun, like with Oscar Pettiford, and you know, there are many incarnations, of course, of bands on there, but it's the Riverside material from 1955 or whatever to 1961, and it has also this particular reissue of this stuff is done beautiful in sound, mastering everything, mixing all what they did with the old master tapes. They just made it sound so crystal clear and so beautiful, and I just, you know, I went to bed, put on the headphones, turn it on, and in the morning I was, you know, these 15 CDs were all going through my brain when I was sleeping, and this for like 1 or 2 years, just this. And yeah, it's the thing about that is like you have so many artists there, like John Coltrane, you have Clark Terry, Ted Jones, Max Roach, Art Blakey, Jerry Mulligan. He all had it in his band, like Coleman Hawkins and yeah, it's Monk is my monk, was my monk, my fatherly monk for jazz. And one thing more that has to be added for this box, it was already released in 1987 and it got awarded with a Grammy for its quality, and it got awarded 2 awards. It's because it's written here Best Historical Album and Best Album Notes. Like, and I have to say, yeah, I always love to have those booklets. It's if you want to buy this at the itself, this thing itself is worth it more or less. Beautiful pictures in there, and thank you Thelonious Monk for showing me what I like. So let's proceed with some. There's not much here anymore. Yeah, maybe, yeah. So the last one will be one of those bands that influenced me also in a tremendous way, in an unmatched way up to this day. And it's a band that has many incarnations and I love all of them. I have some favorites, but I love everything of them, and it was so fun to explore the surroundings, the story. There's a nice movie in the video, a video of one of their albums, how they did recording and like accompanying the making of this album, and the album is also one of my favorites from this band. But I want to say why it's a musical father figure, this band itself, because it taught me how to solo. It was helping me, giving me the hand, and helping me finding my first steps on the ice of skating on the fretboard for bluesy solo stuff. And it's, who could it be? Think you have a guess. I think you're right. It's Fleetwood Mac. And I just took this one here because I love that song so much. Sarah. Hello Sarah. Well, I want to greet you, sister. I've got a sister called Sarah, and hope you're fine. Maybe you see this video. So Fleetwood Mac is one of my all-time favorite influence father figures in music, and this one is taken from The Task, especially that album I love, and also I love the first albums a lot because they were my introduction. Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac, the guitarist, my first song that the absolute initial spark that made the fire go up in me for this band was Like It This Way, a live recording. And I put it into the description that you can listen to the exact thing that made me attracted to them. And yeah, I gotta say the early guitarists, Danny Kirwan, Jeremy Spencer, Peter Green, played really delicate, really with style, really bluesy, British blues in a way that I really, that what I needed back then. I was like 15 years, 16, and the Les Paul sound and all came together, and I fell in love with this band. And I also loved the in-between phase with Bob Welch and a few other guitarists. They tried like the Heroes Are Hard to Find phase until they finally found Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, and then everything started new again. You know, the fun with this band is like it has this many eras, and also the Tango in the Night era from the 80s. I love it so much. I knew all the songs, also from Mirage. I knew Gypsy all my life. I just didn't know who it was or whatever. And I love Mick Fleetwood's playing, like his relaxed. I just can say only the most positive words for this band and for all of the people in there. I love, later I had the phase where I fell in love with Christine McVie's songs on Task, like with Task. Task I kind of discovered a little bit later than the early stuff, or Tango in the Night, after it came Task. And Rumors, of course. And I also am a big lover of the first Fleetwood Mac album, like the first Lindsey Buckingham, Stevie Nicks Fleetwood Mac album. Blue Letter, all of it. Yeah. Listen to I'm gonna do a Fleetwood Mac video sometime too, so for sure. And all the side things, you know, the Stevie Nicks 80s stuff. I like the Peter Green stuff. After he departed, he did a few really nice albums. In the Skies, this chill out groove stuff on there, and yeah, there's much to say, but for now I think it's enough. I just want to add for the Coolio record of the week that I'm, after a few days listening, it's really an actual record still, and it's from the mid-90s, 95, 6. And I like a lot also this songs next to not only Gangsta's Paradise, but Ghetto Highlights, the second song. I like Malika, like the girl who is featured. And I like the Synthi groove and the gangster style of Exercise Your Game. I like this song a lot. I'm loving it, yeah. Today I'm doing a little bit of McDonald's incorporation here. Yeah. That's about it. I have many more musical feather identities, but for now it's all I wanted to show you. And yeah, also like for the Babyshambles thing at last, I said that there is my cover from Movie Star, kind of similar, yeah, it's the color, and I just noticed that later. But what I want to say is the guitar sound on Down in Albion, the first Babyshambles album, is really special, also really high trebly, but he meant it. Like he played a jazz master into, it was his trademark, Patrick Walton's trademark, to play a jazz master into a Marshall amp, I think a GCM, whatever, and he put in really a harsh, noticeable sound. And yeah, I kind of liked that sound a lot. I liked it back then a lot, you know. Fuck Forever was my introduction to the album and to Babyshambles itself. But all the other, like 32nd of December is, or what Katie did next, there's a lot of beautiful stuff on there. And also the guitar sound of My Broken Down amp in Movie Star has a little bit similarity to what Patrick Walton's sound was. So yeah, I think I'm gonna conclude now with wishing you all a happy Father's Day, and if you are a father, make it a happy Child's Day, and if you're a child, make it a happy Father's Day, every day in the year. And I think it's not really about the biological thing, heritage, it's more about the mind. So it's much more important what you pass on from the mind perspective than where you originate from, which guy did it with your mom, you know what I mean? So, but the ideal thing is of course that it's coming together and that everything is cool and nice. So I had to say sometime like, that's enough for me. I went away from home because I had some differences with fathers and this particular father, but I'm really thankful for everything I experienced. And of course I love them, you know, it's just a different love. There are many kinds of loves in this world, and I